Welcome to a rainy Sunday in the studio, and I thought I'd spend a little bit of time just sorting out everything from the Super Seconds Festival that didn't end up going out to new homes, and finally tidying everything away and finding new homes for things. Now, seeing as though we'd already organised and sorted the stock, I wanted to keep it as organised as possible so that we didn't have to go through and do that job again in the future. So I tried to find ways to store things in an organised way, and also to put little notes in there to say what kind of stock that was, whether it was B grade or C grade seconds, end of line stock or samples. It's also just a lot easier to see what we've got in storage. So I just spent a bit of time going through everything and finding new homes for things. You can imagine my frustration when I stumbled across a box of 50 more seconds cards that I could have included in the sale, but I didn't know I had them at the time. Hence the case for finding homes for things so that I can keep them organised and know what I have. But it doesn't matter because I have organised and sorted them along with what was left from this time, and I'll just save them for next time. And then I started my Monday making a list and a plan for the day. Hi everyone, and welcome to a brand new studio vlog. You may or may not be able to tell that after my tidy up that you've already seen, it's looking somewhat clearer in the background, which I'm really happy with. I was glad to have got that done yesterday, and this morning I started the week with a very important job, which was to get my nails done. They've got little lavenders on them. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up. But now we have fresh nails, so we're all ready for the week. And then I've just done some little jobs, ordering stock, replying to emails, stuff like that. And for the rest of today, I wanted to bring you along for a kind of productive day in the life. I hope it's going to be a productive day in their life, because I've just made my list and I really want to power through as many of these jobs as I can. I always find Mondays quite a productive day because I don't work a Tuesday, and so I think I'm a lot more focused because my brain's telling me that you've only got today and then you're not going to be in again till Wednesday. And when you've already just had the weekend, if I don't get anything done today, then nothing much gets done between Friday and Wednesday, and we can't have that. So Monday I tend to find it a bit easier to get in the mindset, so I thought I'd bring you along with me. So I'll tell you what's on my list. I've got, not you,
Oh, sorry.
I'm trying to film. I'm telling you what's on my list, and my mum's going, yeah. I'm not talking to you. I'll tell you what's on my list. You can listen as well.
Okay.
I've got a reel to post today. I've got some planner inserts to print. I'll talk to you about that. I've got some product listings to do after the Super Seconds Festival. I've got a mood board to do for a new product, and then I need to make a plan for tomorrow, but that's not really work related. But before that, what I wanted to do was talk to you about something that I promised I'd give you the results on a couple of weeks ago, and that is the results of something I implemented with my email marketing using OmniSend, who are kindly sponsoring this segment of the video. But I'm really excited to share the numbers with you. If you remembered a couple of weeks ago, I was implementing a spin to win wheel, like a wheel of fortune, on the homepage of my website. And I input all these custom offers on there, and it's a little game that people can play, spin the wheel and then input their email to get the code for their prize. And I wanted to see how well it worked for me in terms of gathering emails and increasing my email list, and compare it to the strategy I was using before. So I have the results, and it's absolutely blown my expectations out of the water, to be honest. So let me share them with you. I enabled that Wheel of Fortune on the 12th of September, and it's been running since then. It's the 20th of October now, so about 5 weeks, let's say. And since then, 151 people have joined my email list. That is such a big amount of people compared to even like the total number that was already on there. I've never ever seen growth that fast since I started building my email list. And I think it was absolutely the best timing to have it all set up and ready ahead of doing the Super Seconds Festival, because all this new traffic was coming to my website, and it was an extra incentive for people to shop with me because they could potentially get that discount from the spin to win. So it was encouraging purchases in the Super Seconds sale, but obviously those people that were going to come and purchase anyway, they might as well try and see if they can get an extra little discount. So I think the timing of those two together was really great. So if you have got a big event or launch or something coming up, then I would definitely recommend making sure you have something set up in advance so that you can make the most of that opportunity and not let it pass you by. But something really interesting is I wanted to see how it compared to the previous form I had set up, which was a little pop-up that just said input your email address and you'll get a 10% voucher sent to your email address. So potentially a bigger discount than what you might get on the spin to win, because the lowest price on that is 5% off. But I was just using a standard pop-up that offered that discount in exchange for an email, and the sign-up rate on that was 2.8%, which is fine. It was good, it was working for me. But when I compare it to the results I was getting on the spin to win pop-up, my sign-up rate is 7.3%. That's almost 3 times more effective, and the only difference really is the element of surprise and fun that having a gamified version of a pop-up adds. So I didn't know if I'd see any difference. I think it's just proved that people like something fun and interactive, even if it's just an extra click and watching something spinning on the screen. That element of surprise, mystery, a gamified element, it really does encourage people, and it makes the whole sign-up process feel more personal and exciting rather than just putting your email in a box. And so as a small business owner, it means that I'm growing my community faster and more effectively than I ever was before, and that's everything that I want to do. So if you did watch my last video on this and you're waiting to see if the spin to win feature was worth it, the answer is absolutely yes. So if you want to triple your sign-up rate like I did, you have to try OmniSend. Try their free email marketing plan. It remains free until you have up to 250 subscribers. So it's really amazing while you are building that email list. And if you do happen to already have more than that, I have a discount code down in the description that you can use as well to get 30% off your first 3 months. So to access your free plan or that discount, head to omnisend.com/Sunshine Lane. I will leave the link down in the description. I would definitely recommend you check it out. So now I have told you this is a peek behind the curtain of the peek behind the curtain, because I now need to edit what I just said. That is next on my list, and send it to OmniSend. This is a ridiculous inception layer of vlogging here, but it's what's on today's list. So really that should be done before a Monday, but here we are. I treated myself to Friday off. You don't even know this?
No.
Treated myself to Friday off. I can't tell you the last time I had a day off. Can you?
I can't remember when you've taken a whole day off.
I had a whole day off.
Mm.
Yeah.
And what did you do with it?
It's nothing. I just sat there, rested.
Nice.
Yeah. It was lovely. So I had the day off and I rested because I'd been out on the Thursday night and I thought, you know what, I can't be bothered. I need the rest. So I rested until I needed to go on the nursery run, and that is very unlike me. So that's why I have that editing to do today and to send it for approval so I can release this to you on Wednesday. It's a complicated set of cogs turning and hoping they all work together. So you're now going to see me do some editing, and while I'm doing that I'm also going to print some planner inserts, which is what I said before. And you might be thinking, Emma, you don't sell planner inserts, what are you talking about? Well, if you've followed me for a long time, you may know that I used to be called Plan, Inspire, Create, and planner inserts were like the first things I ever sold for ring bound or disc bound planners, and I had a whole huge range, something like nearly 60 different ones. And over time I kind of felt like I wanted to concentrate in on just the self-care related products, and that's what I did, and that's been working well for me. However, I always kept some of the planner inserts up in my Etsy shop because that's mostly where I would get those orders. I did have them on my Shopify for a little bit, and what I found was I wasn't really getting any orders of them on there, and they just seemed a bit out of place alongside my other products. Whereas Etsy was where I was getting those orders. They weren't necessarily repeat customers of mine, but they were shopping on Etsy for planner inserts specifically. So what I did was I pared it down to the ones that sold the most. I think I've got about 8 to 10 on there. And last week I sat down and I did all the dated inserts for next year. That the ones that are dated, I updated them, and I launched the 2026 ones, and we've already had, I think, 5 orders on there. Not huge ones, but it all adds up. So I've kept that little income stream going over on my Etsy, and I've got those to print as well. So we've got some classic happy planner size, we've got some personal ring bound, A6 ring bound, A5 ring bound. So we've got a bit of a mix really. Size wise, I do A6 personal wide, A5 in ring bound, and then in disc bound I do A5 and happy planner classic size, I believe. But I do also do custom planner inserts for people. So if you use one of those types of planners and you have a look at my planner inserts on Etsy, I'll link them in the description, and you want something a little bit different, I do custom inserts for people, and I have a few people that come back every year to get them updated, which is lovely, as well as just one-offs of people that want something specific. So I just wanted to mention that on here because it's not something I ever talk about, the fact that I've kind of kept that going over on my Etsy shop. But I just pared it down to the things that sell the most so that I wasn't paying for all these Etsy listings, and it just kept it simple when it wasn't like the core thing that I do. So anyway, enough rambling, or this won't be a productive day. I am going to get these printing whilst editing this video. So I'll see you in a minute. So I wanted to talk to you about how I edit my videos. This isn't sponsored, but I wanted to talk to you about a tool that I have been loving so much, and I think it's a fantastic use of AI to speed up video editing. This is called Descript, and you drag your files into there and it actually transcribes the file for you, and you can add as many clips as you like. And then up here you can see it says shorten word gaps, and you can set what time you want it to search for and what time you want to then reduce it for. So any gaps in my videos that are over 0.4 seconds, it will reduce to 0.2 seconds, and then you just click find them and then remove them, and just like that, in one click it has chopped up my video and removed all the gaps from in between me speaking. And then the next tool that I use is remove retakes, and this looks at the transcript and it looks where you've basically said the same thing twice. So it's usually where I fumbled over my words and I've started saying it again to make it clear, or if I've just waffled and actually said the same thing twice. It will find those sections and it will assume that the most recent one is the one you want to keep. The last thing you said was the way you said it correctly, and you can just go down this list and click yes or no whether you want to accept that edit to remove the first version of how you said it and keep the second. Again, this is something I used to do manually to cut the waffle, to cut the fumbling over words, and now it just takes me a couple of clicks. And you can actually do the same for filler words if you want, like or using like, things like that. That's one I don't always use. And then what I'll do is I'll listen to it through, and you'll see as I'm speaking what I'm saying is being highlighted in the transcript, and I can read through it. It's much easier for me to scan a written transcript and see what I've said in the video, and then if there's anything I want to cut out, you just highlight the text and delete it, and it's so much faster than having to rewind the video, find the right place you want to cut it, manually cut bits out. It's so much faster for video clips that are based on you speaking. Obviously, it doesn't really do wonders for video montages where I'm showing you things, but for all the spoken segments of my videos, I use Descript, and it has sped up my video editing no end. You can do it all in Descript, but I find it easier to export those spoken clips and then put my whole video together with all the other bits and pieces I want to add in DaVinci Resolve, which is free, and that's where I'll do any tweaks to lighting, to the sound. I'll put clips over the top if I want to show things while I'm talking, or if I want to add any little elements over the top, and then to put together those segments where it's like at the beginning of this video where I'm showing you me tidying up and it's set to music and those kind of things. So I wanted to share that with you while I was telling you about my day, because it's something I've never ever spoken about before, and I think it's an amazing tool. I've been using it for a while now. I'll leave the links to both of those that I use in the description below if you want to check them out. Then while I was waiting for that video to export, I focused on printing my planner inserts. I tend to keep some papers in my drawers by the printer that are pre-cut to the different planner page sizes, so I'm just grabbing the ones I need, and then I just go through and do all of the ones for each size together so that I'm not swapping paper in and out of the printer. I just spent a bit of time printing all the ones for the orders. Finally, I just sat while the printing was finishing and posted a reel that I needed to post on my Instagram. So I tried to do as many things as possible while other things were working in the background. I'm back and the planner inserts are all done I've handed them over, Mum's packed them up ready to go out, and I have sent the video off for approval. I've posted my reel, so my to-do list looking pretty good. I have 2 things left on there, one of which I think I'm going to bump to either later tonight or just Wednesday, which is doing the product listings for things I want to get back up after Super Seconds. And I'm going to bump it because I want to focus on the other thing that's on my to-do list, which is doing a mood board and getting organised for a new product, and I wanted to talk to you about what it was. So in June we released our first product that was a little card deck, and it's our anxiety toolkit. It's a deck of 45 cards that have on here lots of different strategies and information that you can use to help you when you're experiencing anxiety. And this was a general adult one that we created, and it's been really successful since we released it, and it's something that we're really proud of. Both me and Mum collaborated on it together, and it was the first product that she was involved in the design of the actual product, well, the content of it. So she focused on the content because with her experience as a mental health nurse, she's still practicing at the moment. It just makes sense that we're utilising that knowledge and experience. So she did the content, and then we discussed that and refined that, and then I did the design. So it's a proper collaboration product that we're both really proud of. And we did do a vlog about what that was like designing it together, so I'll link it below if you're interested. But the idea was always that we were going to see how it would go, but if people liked them and they were finding them useful, that we would make it part of a series. And so we've got a whole load of ideas of ones we would like to create on different topics and things. But what we would like to do is do an anxiety toolkit for different age groups. So Mum's been working really hard behind the scenes on content for a teenage one, and it's written differently, it's pitched differently, it's got different content because teenagers are experiencing a whole load of different things than adults necessarily are. So it's kind of targeted at some of the more specific challenges teenagers might be going through, as well as managing anxiety as a whole, because I remember being a teen, it's not a fun time. So I've got a nice chunky document off Mum here that she's put together with all of the information for each card she thinks should be on each one. We've already talked through all the contents and stuff. Usually I have to reword it to shrink it down to get it on the card, and also to balance it with some of the more illustrative elements. And what I want to do this afternoon is put together a new project area in my Notion planner for this project, and I want to make a big list of all the illustrations and the different design elements that I need to create before I can start putting this together. And I want to do a bit of a mood board to get an idea of the style of it. So in terms of the actual cards and the design of the packaging and stuff, we've gone with this kind of like swoopy design on the adult one, and this design is on the back of all the cards. And we're gonna go the same but a different colourway, so I need to decide on a colour palette. But on the actual cards themselves, there's going to be more illustrations and stuff than on the adult ones. So we don't want to make it like too kiddie, but we want to make it more visually appealing. So I'm going to make a big list. I'm going to do a bit of a mood board. I want to know what illustrations that I need to create. And I think once I've done that, it will just help me get stuck in and start designing. So let's get started and see where we end up. So I started making a list of all the things I could see that I would need to design, and then I have a blank mood board template in Canva that I use. I started pulling out images that related to things on that list, whether it was a concept or a specific type of imagery, and I tried to fill this mood board full of colourful, cute, friendly illustrations that have a bit of a playful style and are not too distant from the type of illustrations I tend to draw anyway. I'm conscious of not wanting to make a teenage toolkit seem too childlike. However, there is a childlike quality to all the illustrations that I tend to produce anyway, so it feels like a bit of a balance, but I think I ended up with a mood board that kind of represents the type of imagery and the type of style that I want to go for with this toolkit. Okay, so I just yawned. I look like I've been crying. I am back after mood boarding and then a break to do mum stuff and then a bit more mood boarding, and I'm happy with how it turned out, and it's actually helped me really get in the zone of doing this toolkit because it's such a big project that it's hard to get started with it, and now I kind of feel like I've got more of a design direction, and last time there were less design elements on the adult one, so I put all the information on and then I just saw where I needed to create things. But this time I think I'm going to create all the elements first and then piece it all together, especially because there's a lot more visual stuff, icons and diagrams, and then little illustrations. So the route I kind of went down when I was putting my mood board together was that I wanted objects and things that could kind of be personified and given characters and emotions and things without being people or animals specifically. And then I had to play around with some different colour palettes, and I kind of wanted to keep the orange and then mix in another colour. I wanted to avoid the pink just to try and make it less girly. I know it doesn't really mean anything, it's just pink, but people can just assume it's for girls, and I would like it to be picked up by people who would buy it for boys too, and so making it less pink on the cover straight off the bat I think would help that. So I wanted to therefore keep the orange and then tie in something else. So I had to play around with colour palettes. I've sent them over to my mum to see what she thinks, and then this is how my Notion turned out, so I'll show you that. So this is my Notion board. I haven't filled in any of the top sections yet, the who, what, why, when, but I will sit down and do that when I've got a quiet moment and a cup of tea, because it especially helps me focus when I come to marketing a product. I need to be thinking about who it's for and the messages I want to get across. That really helps when it comes to that, and just making sure I'm keeping the right things in mind when I'm designing it. And then I've uploaded my mood board here, so you can see the style that I've got on there is these kind of animated kind of object character type things that tie in with different themes throughout the set. There is a little set of characters that I want to do that's based on different hormones, so I'm excited to try and bring those to life. I've got 4 that I want to create, so we've had a bit of a chat about that this afternoon and what the different ones might look like based on what each of the hormones actually do, and different icons and things that could actually represent those, and having different colours coming through that represent the emotions and stuff like that. So I'm excited about that, and I think this is just going to help me stay on a theme as I'm designing it. I've got my 3 lists of more illustration type things that are just more basic icons, and they need to be quite simple, they're going to be quite small, and then different models that I want to put together. So that is all ready for me to have there when I'm working to keep me on track, and I can also be ticking off this list. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on next, is starting to work through these lists and put together some of these different illustrations and things. So I'll bring you along for some of that. If my eyes look really watery, it's because I keep yawning, and I've probably cut those bits out, so now it just looks like I'm sitting here crying in my office. It's yawns. I'm absolutely exhausted. It has been a very productive day. In my little mum break, my little girl managed to fall off a chair and stick her hands in a pooey nappy, so it's been quite the parenting adventure this evening. So I am exhausted and ready to put my feet up. So I have one more thing on my agenda, which is to ask you for something. So I have been on YouTube for 5 years now. It popped up the other day the other week on my YouTube studio, and I was like, what on earth? How has that happened? And I think I might have created the account before I posted a video. I reckon it's probably November-ish, and I am coming up to my 300th video. Now, not all of those are still live because some of those I took down, but I've released 300 videos nearly on YouTube, which is ridiculous. And my shop's been open a good 4 years now. There's been big changes in Sunshine Lane over the years. It wasn't even Sunshine Lane to begin with, it was Plan, Inspire, Create, and it's been a long time now actually since I've sat down and done a Q&A video and answered your questions, and I put a little question box over on my Instagram, and I've been collecting questions over there. But I thought it'd be really nice, kind of in the run up to this anniversary, if you have any questions you would like me to answer, I would love to sit down and do a small business Q&A video for you, whether it's about something to do with that journey over time that I've been on, whether it's about the personal snippets you see, anything to do with my health journey, self-care journey, being autistic, working with my mum now, running the business, like all the small business questions you might have about any specifics you've seen me talk about on the vlog, or running the business in general. Absolutely anything. If it's bizarre, I might not answer it, but ask away. I would love for you to drop me a question in the comments below and I'll collect them all up, or drop me a message if you want to send it in a private message on Instagram or on email. Then you are more than welcome to do so. The more the merrier. I would love to do a nice chunky Q&A video for you. Yeah, answer some of your lovely questions. So please do ask me a question. Don't think any question is too silly to ask, or, you know, give me your questions. I promise they're all good questions. And I am still working on a video behind the scenes for those of you who asked me to do a video on reopening my shipping to the EU, Northern Ireland and America. I am going to do that. I just want to take the time on it and make sure I can pack it full of as much information as possible. So I'm just planning it out a bit more behind the scenes, but that will come in the next few weeks, if you are wondering. Thank you so much for helping keep me motivated on my productive day. I will be back next week with another vlog, and until then, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you very soon. Bye everyone.